All right, day 27. You can see the sky. It's cloudy. It's been raining on and off for days. You can see we got a muddy mess. Absolute muddy mess. It makes everything so difficult. And if you're going to self-build, this is going to be your reality. I'm just going to tell you that right now. So you might as well accept it, because it's just what's going to happen. It's not raining right now. It's supposed to rain again, on and off. The wind is light and variable. Over here I have all my steel sitting for this end, gable end, and then my backside, which I can get started on my gable end here because I have some rock. Backside, probably not. I'm going to organize my steel. All the short pieces always come on top, so I have to do something with them. So we'll start with the 30, then 48, then 66, then 84, then 102, then 120, then 138. And then another 138, and then back down. That way I can line them all up, punch the holes, and it'll be ready to go when I do that gable end above my gable break. Then underneath that is the steel for this end. Little thought here, depending on how far your metal supplier is, I'm quite a ways. It's a decent amount of money to have it delivered. However, if you are doing this by yourself, you do not want to order all of your steel all at once, because it's literally going to come stacked from shortest sheets all the way down to the longest. The first sheets you're going to need are the longest. They're for the roof. And then you're going to need the next longest sheets, which are for the sidewalls. So what I do is I do usually 2, sometimes 3 orders of steel. So I get all my trims and my roof metal in one order, which I've done. And then I'm doing 2 walls in this order. And then my next order will be everything, once I get the porch finished up, it'll be everything above and below the porch on the gable end and this long sidewall. And that way, it's less sorting that I have to do. And if you think, if I was to get all of this metal once, I have to have a lot of space to lay this all out. And look at this. This is most build sites. There's no grass. It's all dirt. You get rain, and you're gonna have nothing but mud, and you're gonna be trying to get to your steel. It's gonna be messy, it's gonna be nasty, it's gonna be a nightmare. All right, so here comes the rain. I know that my girts are 2 foot on center, so I gotta mark 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. I won't mark the bottom or the top, because that's easy. I just go right under and above my trim. Rain, be soaked. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to drill, make sure I'm lined up still, drill the corner one, run a screw in to hold it, and then I'll drill all the rest. And you guys, I've punched these, I've drilled these. I mean, either way works. It's just kind of personal preference. I've kind of gone to the liking of drilling. If you have a nice sharp drill bit, it works really good. So kind of personal preference. I just drilled through 14 sheets. Let's see, I did 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. 5 rows in 4 minutes through 14 sheets. So now I'm ready to go with this entire side of steel. All right guys, the next trim we're going to talk about is our Z trim. I use it for our wainscoting, so it goes right over the top of our wainscoting. And then our top seal sits on it. I also use it for this linear break. So I'll show it to you here. You can see it's called a Z trim or double angle. And so what I'm doing is I like to, where my FJ comes around, that's where I like to run this gable break, because then my steel lengths are all the same around the sidewall and the end wall. So I'll mount my laser in the middle where I need it, and I'm going to run this all the way across. Then I can get my measurements for this steel, and I can get my measurements for that steel. So then this steel will sit on top, and this steel will slide under. Mount this bracket so I can slide that through there. Alright guys, so the next thing I'm going to do is along this wainscot line that I've already snapped. If you have a crew, this is not for you. I'm going to take a 2x4 and I'm going to screw it just under that line, because I'm putting this steel up by myself, and I can put the steel up under my trim up top, slide it over the wood. I don't have to worry about scratching my trim. It'll keep it nice and level. I'll leave my bottom row of screws out. Then when I'm done, I can slide my Z trim or wainscot trim, whatever you want to call it, double angle. I can slide that in, and I don't have to worry about scratching it. Where this really comes into play when you're doing metal by yourself, or even if somebody else, is around windows, when you have to kind of go in with at an angle. This can really save you from scratching that trim. Now, if you have a couple people, you don't even necessarily need that 2x4 there, but it's nice for me because it's like an extra set of hands, and I can set that steel on there, and I know it's going to stay right where I want it. This is a 40-foot wide building, so I know that at 39 feet 9 inches I have a rib. As long as I start right at this edge, my corner trim will cover the other edge. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to measure over, and I'm going to mark a line vertical that is plumb. That way I can start with my first sheet perfectly plumb. Obviously this is plumb, so if I set it on there, it's going to be pretty dang close as it is. Well, I missed the first 3 pieces, but you can see I got the first 3 pieces up. This 2x4 is amazing. As long as you have a nice straight chalk line, level chalk line, and you put that 2x4 right along that, you're going to have a nice run on the bottom of your metal. It's all going to be lined up, it's going to be level, it's going to be plumb. It's very rigid, whereas the trim, if you have the trim there, sometimes you don't know how far to go down because the trim moves a little bit. So great way to do this. So I'm just going to continue as far as I can until I hit the mud, and then we'll do something else. I got this middle section all done using my 2x4 method. I don't know, it probably took me about an hour and 45 minutes, 2 hours to run that. That's all screwed off already. As long as it doesn't rain, I'm going to try to start doing my peak here. These middle pieces get pretty big, but we should be alright. couple things. You need to know the roof pitch, which I have 612, so that means every foot I'm rising 6 inches. So my first measurement I need is from the top of that Gable brake trim up into my FJ, which is 8.5 inches. So I know if I add 18 inches, that's 26.5. So I'm going to mark up 8.5 inches, make a mark. Now the important thing is this panel has 36-inch coverage, but it's 38 inches long because of the overlap, the siphon rib. So my second measurement has to be right along that rib. So my 26.5 has to be measured right there, because if I measure it out here, my angle is going to be bad. I'm going to measure up 8.5 inches. That's my starting. And then you can always measure 36. I know exactly where it's going to be because I've done this enough. My second measurement is going to be right along there. So 18 plus 8.5 is 26.5, correct? 26.5. So my line needs to intersect right there. I have a new tool for this, but the guys have it on another job site, so I'm going to use the old level. It's to be the level, which is as straight as narrow. So I'm going to line that up, line that up. And now I can cut that. So for these angled cuts, I use a nibbler. I use the 18 or the 12 volt Milwaukee nibbler. Works great. So I'll get that out, we'll cut this, and we'll fit it, and then we'll just keep working our way up. Alright, so here is the tool I use to cut anything that I'm going across the ribs. I use the nibbler. I get the best cut, it doesn't leave scratches, just the best thing that I can find up to this point. Alright, you can see my cut. It's about as good as you're going to get with any tool. I'm going to go ahead and take this up, put this on, and hypothetically I can cut every single piece because I know what it is. When I go up there and put this on, I'll check my starting measurement just to be sure. Alright, we're cruising along. I've measured over to the peak, it's 24 5/8, so then my angle will go up and then it'll start back down. The problem is those pieces are longer than the side pieces, so they are at the bottom of this pile. The good thing is those are long enough, so instead of unstacking all that, which would take me absolutely forever, and there's nowhere to deal with it, I'm just going to use 2 of those, and then I will just have to cut those for side pieces. I know I'm essentially cutting them all instead of just 2 of them. However, it's going to take me less time to just use 2 of the shorter ones and then cut those down. It is what it is. That's what I'm going to do. Alright guys, that's going to be a wrap on today's video. Hopefully you found some of these tips and tricks for putting up steel helpful. On the next show, day 28 of the Solo Barndo Build, we will be covering how to build an eyebrow. That is something that is just aesthetically pleasing that people like to put on. In the next show, I'm going to break down how I build those and how I install them. As always, if you guys need any information, check out our website, www.mrpostframe.com. Thanks for watching. Share us with your friends, and we will catch you on the next video.